Local emergency rooms will begin seeing kids coming in with concussions. But now there is some new testing that helps determine when it is safe for kids to return to the playing field. And KXLY4's Erik Loney joins us now live with more on that.
Yeah, good morning, Nadine. We're joined with Dr. PZ Pierce from Champion Sports Medicine. And PZ, this is testing that's relatively new that helps determine when it's safe for a kid to come back to sports after a concussion.
Exactly. It's the impact test, as we talked about, developed at University of Pittsburgh. It's been around for about 10 years or so, but it's becoming more popular. We basically at Champions offer this testing free to all high school football players in the area and test several of the schools like CV and U High, G-Prep. The importance in doing the test really is to determine when is it safe for an athlete to return to play. And if you look at a graph here, basically we're not going to go through the exact results, but this is a graph of any of the memory tests, like the word memory or the visual memory, the shapes. And you can see here's a baseline individual that was not concussed and tested on several days. Here's an athlete that suffered a concussion, and you can see that their memory scores drop significantly after the first couple of days, and it takes them about 8 days or so to recover from that, 8 or 9 days to come back to baseline.
So if you take a baseline test before you have a concussion, then you get a concussion after, you take this a couple times before you're allowed to come back to sports.
Exactly. And when the athlete says, I no longer have any symptoms of concussion, then we'll retest them. And you can look at the same graph with reaction time. Here's reaction time, gets slower, and then it recovers after about 8 or 9 days. Interestingly, a lot of athletes at 7 days will say, I feel completely normal, and 75% of them will still test abnormal. It's not safe to send them back to play because they can suffer further injury. And then if you look at this graphically, you can see here's one of our athletes that we tested a couple of years ago. Basically, baseline test, first post-injury test. Actually, the second post-injury test a week later actually got a little bit worse and then recovers completely after about 2 weeks. And you can test visual memory, verbal memory, you can look at visual motor speed or processor speed, it's all the same.
And they do this at local schools?
Yeah, there are some schools that have this available. We offer it here. If anyone wants to be tested, it's $10, which is what it costs us. We have to pay Impact $10 to run the test. So.
Okay. All right, PZ, thanks very, very much. Something you can get here at Champion Sports Medicine. It's right off Hamilton, right by Gonzaga. Nadine, back to you.
Oh, great test to have. Thanks a lot, Erik.